Hey, Paul, have you heard of NYOP? No, it means name your own price. Yes, it's like a reverse auction. Yeah, you set your own price, but you don't know the product or the brand. What? That's how you bought that. That's how you bought that shirt? I guess I won't have any FOMO about that. Welcome to another episode of the Mighty Code Coder. I'm Rob Fitzgerald, here to make you great, help you innovate. In this episode, we'll be going back to Mr. Lou's material to set up our review cards. We need to talk about getters and setters. These are methods that every class should have in order to let people see your data. It's important to let end users feel like they have some kind of control over your app or your website. That's what makes an app or website dynamic. If we allow anonymous users of our applications to change the data to the app when they use it, they feel more comfortable with that app. When we produce the South Hills 2-minute warning app, we let the users set the schedule type, but how, you might ask questions, how do you allow anonymous users to access data, but at the same time keep it safe? Well, that's what getters and setters will explain. So let's get going. All right, so the first thing I want to do is set up my AWS console and log into Cloud9. All right, so I have that here on another browser, and here are these. We'll start with two classes we've already worked with, which is my phone and my driver. Okay, or my phone driver, sorry. Okay, and the first thing I want to do is show you Mr. Lou's big three. All right, and one, let's make it bigger, is the instance variables. Okay, remember we call these global variables. Two, the constructor. Now we have two of them. We have multiple. We have a my phone with no parameters, and we have a my phone with 4 parameters. All right, and then at the end we have a toString, which prints out a nice usable face. Paul, just be cool. I would buy that shirt. I wouldn't have fear of missing out on that shirt. Okay, all right. So what we want to do now is if a person or someone wants to see the capacity of the phone, we should have a getter so they can see the information in there. Also, if they want to upgrade the capacity, we should have a setter so we can set the memory capacity. Okay, so let's first start with the getter. All right, I'll make some room here. And I'm just going to type in, remember we have to make it public because people are going to be able to see it. All right, and it's going to be, when they're just going to get it, we're going to return something. Now remember when we have a return, we got it in this next statement, I got to say what type of data is going to return, and I'll say it's going to be an int. Okay, and then I'll call this get memory capacity. All right, and we'll do those two things, and then we'll have the curly brackets, and this sets it up. Now, the only thing we want is return what it is. Right now, it's at 128. If I use the default, it's at 64. If I use the multi-parameter constructor, it's at whatever the person set it at. So right now it's 64. So I'm just going to return 64 if they use the zero parameter constructor. All right, and so we're just going to return memory capacity. There it is. All right, it's that easy. All right, so that's for that one. Now, what I could do is now I can create another one to set the capacity. Okay, so let's do that right after the getter. We'll do, these are called getters and setters. All right, so public. Now, in the setter, I'm not going to return anything. I'm just saying go set it to 128 or 32 in this case, and just set it and just leave it. All right, set it, forget it. All right, so if you're not going to need a return statement, you could use something called a void. It means nothing's being returned. All right, and I'm going to, instead of calling set get memory capacity, I'll just call it set memory capacity. All right, and we'll put that. And now we have to basically, our memory capacity is something called memory capacity. And if I want, I can go ahead and call the parameter that catches it the same thing so I don't confuse it. Now, I want to remind you that I can easily just make this a called X. Okay, so I could say X and catch it like that. And I'm going to draw something up on the board in a second so you understand this fact. Okay, but for right now, I'm going to make it memory capacity. Now remember, that variable is not the same variable as this variable here. Okay, this is a local variable within this function, all right, called memory capacity, not the same thing. All right, and now I want to say this because it's the local or the global instance variable, and I want to set the local one to the global one to the local one. All right, and I'll draw this up to make it simple for you. All right, so there it is. Perfect, right? All right, turn this off. All right, so that's it for the getter and setter. Now we need to go to the driver and actually work on the driver a little bit. Okay, so let's go over there and let's set the driver. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the driver. Now when I left you last time, this is what I had. All right, and so now after I print my cell, that should print out all the cells. But this time now I want to go ahead and get the memory. So I would using dot technology, I just say my cell dot get memory capacity, and it's a function, so I have to put the two parentheses on there, and that's it. But the problem is, if I go get something and I'm going to bring it back, it's like going to the store and not having a bag to bring it back in. You've got to put it in something, so it can't just float out here. So I actually have to make another variable, and I'll call this variable my cell memory. Okay, so it gets it, and then it stores it in this variable. Again, I'll explain that further on the board. All right, and that's going to go get it, and I'll just basically print that out. Okay, so I'll just do a system out. Let me copy this one to save some time here, and I'll paste it here, and I'm going to just print out my cell memory. Okay, there it is. So my cell memory, and I should let's see if should I feel like I should set the memory too. All right, so let's print it up, and if I want to set it, I could just go just like getter. I could say set memory cell capacity. Okay, that's the method I use using dot technology. I use the object first. My cell dot set memory capacity. All right, and I got to send it something. So let's send it 32. All right, so I set it, and then let's go ahead and print it out again. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and paste this in here, and I'm going to say, now I just set it, so I don't need to hold it. It didn't go bring anything back, so I'm just setting it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just print out that same thing. I'm going to say my cell dot, oops. Dot get memory capacity. All right, so something like that. So I have I first do a getter that gets the memory capacity, and I put it in this variable called my cell memory, and then I print out my cell memory. Then I go set a memory to 32, and then I system print out and just say my memory. After I do that, I go my memory. Now, if I didn't do it like this, I would probably have to come down here and run this line again. Okay, somewhere down here. Okay, so it gets 32. But instead of doing that twice, I use this little trick by just putting the whole statement right inside the system.print line. All right, and I get the same thing. All right, and I'll explain that again on the board in a second. So let's go ahead and back this off. I gotta save it. Remember up here, if this little thing is gray, it is not saved. So if I hit save, it turns green and then it turns into an X. Okay, let's clear this. Oops. Go down here and let's clear. All right, and let's CD into my other environment. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this at home. All right, so now I'm in my environment and I could just use Java docs. There it is. Hit return. See if I have no errors. I have no errors. Get lucky. Better be lucky than good. I've got a CD back over into the other one. So let me go back to classes. And then let's go ahead and Java my driver. There it is. And hit return. There it is. All right. So the first thing it does is if I go up here, I'll just show you as I'm doing it what it's doing. Okay. So the first thing it does. Okay, is it gives all the memory capacity in the entire phone when I'm using my toString method. And that's because in here, I said my phone and all that. Okay, so then I start to get my memory capacity and print that out. And then I go ahead and set it and print that out. And so if you come back down here, you have memory capacity 128, cost 599, sprint false. And then at first it's 128. I set to 32, print it out again, and it's now 32. Perfect. It's awesome. Paul, what's wrong? Am I going too fast? Okay, I'm going to go to the board and draw something up for everybody. So you just relax, okay? And be cool. All right, so now let's go over to the board and show you a little more insight on how all this is happening that might make a little more sense to you, okay? Because passing parameters starts getting difficult, okay? So let's switch over. Okay, hello. All right, so basically let's talk about that driver class. So let's go up here, and this is going to be my phone driver. Okay, and so in here we set them, and so we did something like my cell dot set memory okay, we can just put a 32 in there. Okay, no int, no public, no private, just 32. Okay, and the way I'm going to describe this is by using coffee cups. All right, so let's put, I'm going to put a coffee cup here. Okay, and I'm going to put one here. Okay, see if you guys can see that. Okay, so this one's going to be called, let's call this X. Okay, and let's call this memory capacity. Okay. So I always tell my classes, variables are just held in some type of container. And since I know how to draw a coffee cup, I just always draw coffee cups. It probably shouldn't have that line there. But anyway, these are my coffee cups and they're going to hold my variables. All right. Somewhere inside now the my phone class. Okay. So this is the driver. Now we're going to be in my phone. .java. Okay, I want to make sure you guys know this is that class. This is the class file. Okay, in here I've created a set memory. I said made it public. because I want other people to use it to set their memory. Okay, I don't have to say what type it is. Remember, only this next line goes for return types. I'm going to return something. I'm just going to set something. So if I'm not going to return anything, I use the word void. All right, and then I'm going to say set memory capacity. All right, now in here, I've got to put, okay, what type of data is coming in, because this data is coming in. So what type of data is it? It's int. Erase that. All right, and I'm just going to catch it with an X. Now I didn't do this in the code. I actually used memory capacity, but I'm going to actually use X because I named this cup X. So 32 is going into X, all right? And that means 32 is now going in this cup. Okay? Now in here, when I set it, I say my memory capacity. I think we just named it memory capacity, okay? So let's go back over here and make sure I use the same variables. All right, so I said memory capacity equals X, okay? So that basically means that 32 is going into X, and now that 32 is going into memory capacity, okay? Or whatever's in this cup is being poured into this cup. So memory capacity now has 32 in it. And doesn't matter what I name this. Okay, I could have named this red. Okay, I could have named it anything. It's passing this. Of course, this would have to now be red. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It's just a holder, just holding these variables. Okay, so I use cups. Whatever makes you feel better. Sometimes people use the same, and what we did in that program, we use the same memory capacity. We use memory capacity there. Okay, so programmers like to do that so they don't mix up their variables. So they always know that memory capacity is going to be memory capacity. They don't have to remember red or X or Y. Or when I started programming, it was just all letters. There wasn't enough memory for the whole word, so we had letters, and we had to have some kind of rubric at the beginning, not a rubric, but some at the beginning that tells us what all our variables were. Okay, so that's it, and let's go back over. All right. So that is driver and class parameter passing. Okay, pretty nice. All right, a legend is what I wanted to use with those variables. All right, so now I could basically go into my system.out and print my stats, and it'll change every time I print out the whole cell. It would change it. All right, so that keeps everything private, yet lets people access it. So you get getters and setters. Okay, it lets them make your app dynamic, yet it safeguards all your data. Okay, so that does it for this episode. Unbelievable, huh? Hope that you enjoyed it. Remember, always trying to make you great and help you innovate. So until next time, what, Paul? Yeah, okay. And if you have questions, you could leave comments below, or go to the website at www.themightycodecoder.com, or find me on Twitter at mightycodecoder. Thank you for watching.